So in case you're interested, normally when I record these videos, I'm recording in front of my bay window so we get some natural light. But the result of that being I can look down on the street. And just as I'm recording this, there was a guy walking past who was just looking extra shifty. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another video. I'm TheXploder, and today the only shifty thing we've got to worry about are shift-based characters, because that's what this deck is all about. Yes, I'm going to give you a profile look at a deck I've been working on, which is Emerald Sapphire Get Shifty, which is all about shift characters, and especially the brand new Shift Hero. This is version 1 of the deck, and I've currently made 2 versions by the time you're seeing this video, with a third version constructed but yet not tested, so keep an eye out for that one when it eventually comes. But for right now, let me talk to you about version 1 of the deck, which is bad, but so bad you should give it a try. And here we are. If you want the link to this deck, it will be down in the description below, or I should be able to post this up on my Discord server as well, so you can have a look and genuinely dive into it yourself. But for right now, let's have a look at the Emerald Sapphire Get Shifty version 1, starting off with 3 copies of Clarabelle. Nice, simple, straightforward, gets rid of items if you have a little bit of ink spare. Beautiful. 2 copies of Morph. We're playing quite a few different shift characters, so at least we have a couple of copies of Morph to help us shift up into those guys if we don't see the original versions, or we just don't run the original versions in the first place. We're also running 4 copies of Tipo, the Growing Sun, because quite frankly he is a good boy that allows us to ramp, so why not let the good boy participate in our deck. As a bit of a tech spin on this deck, we are running 3 copies of Bellwether Assistant Mayor, a 3-cost uninkable 2/3 for 1, with the effect, during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, chosen opposing character gains Reckless. The main reason we are running Bellwether is just so that our opponents have to attack on the turn where we're able to ink, and this also effectively stops them from being able to quest, which is the main thing. Yes, they can still play songs, yes, they can still challenge, but the fact that it stops them from questing gives us that little bit of tempo and a little bit of control on the board to maintain things so we can build up to what we want to build up to. We're running 3 copies of the new Hero Armada Future Champion, the 3-cost inkable 3/3 for 1, and Origin Story. When you play a Floodborn character on this card, draw a card. We are playing the Shift Hero to go with this, so it makes sense. You play the Hero and the Shift, you get a guaranteed card draw, and you move forward from there. It's kind of like the Digimon mechanic, where when you Digivolve one Digimon into another, you can draw a card, but now it's an effect on an actual boy. I would not like this. We've got 2 copies of the Muses. If we're talking about a little bit more control and a little bit more tempo, Muses definitely helps. We sing a song with any of our characters or play a song with any of the ink that we just have to spare. Muses will trigger, and any opponent that has 2 power or less is bounced back into the hand. It's really nice, really simple. And there we go. We got 4 copies of Grandma Tala, Keeper of Ancient Stories, just to help us with card draw when we hit turn 4, because we know Flaversham's banned. And we're also running 2 copies of Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves. We do have the Shift Clarabelle. We don't want too many because we don't want to brick too hard, but she also helps us be able to get our hand management back in order by the time she comes out as a Shift 5. We're also running 3 copies of Hero Armada Armor Designer, which is the brand new hero and the main reason why I wanted to construct this deck. He is a 4/6 quest for free 7-cost inkable card with Shift 5, and you can be way more. Your Floodborn characters that have a card under them gain Evasive and Ward. Fantastic card, really love it, and as I said, this is the main reason why I wanted to build this deck, because a piece of tech like that makes any of your shift characters really hard to take out, which is brilliant. And it is key to know that with Hero's Effect, it is any Floodborn character that you control, including himself. It's not other Floodborn characters, which makes him really nice. Running 2 copies of the Peter Pan Neverland Prankster, because quite frankly, if we are going to set tempo pace and we are going to force our opponents to have to challenge into us, we can at least put the Peter Pan out and make it so you have to challenge into Peter Pan at least once in order to get your engine going, whilst for me, I can just lay back, relax, and let you do all the hard work, because I'm going to be gaining lore nice and easy as long as Hero's out protecting my boys. We're also running 1 copy of Grandma Tala's Spirit of the Ocean. A little bit of a tech splash in this deck. You don't need to see her all the time, but whenever we do put a card into our Inkwell, we do gain a lore, which can sneak in out of nowhere and effectively win us the game if our opponents are not careful. And last but not least on our top end, 2 copies of Prince Philip, Vanquisher of Foes. 9 cost inkable, 6/6 for free, a shift 6, already has evasive on him, but when you play this character, banish all opposing damaged characters. So even if we don't have a lot of things to do, we can bop into our opponent's characters so they at least have damage on them. Prince Philip comes out, banish for a lot of them, and we're good to go. Next up, we have 10 actions, going with 4 copies of Sail the Azurite Sea, because quite frankly, a bit of ramp goes a long way. We've got 3 copies of Visions of the Future, just to help us with card draw, as well as organise our deck and shuffle back 4 cards we just don't need yet. 1 copy of Ink Geyser, and this is the funny card out of the deck, because quite frankly, if you're ramping quite well, and you're setting the pace of ramp, and even ramping cards that you wish you'll be able to use later on, you can then suddenly shove out Ink Geyser, make everyone draw cards out of their Inkwell until you're all ready to go. This can also help make it so that you can get your Clarabelle back, so once you then use your cards after the geyser, you can then effectively build it back up quite easily while your opponent may struggle. It's very, 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 very board intensive, and it's very reliant on the board state as a whole. Do not play this all the time. That's why it's only at 1. It's a quirky, funny thing to play with. And we're also running 2 copies of Bend to My Will, because quite frankly, we're in Emerald, we're ramping enough with Sapphire. Why not do all of this ramp and make your opponent discard their entire hand? Then we're running 17 songs, which definitely helps with our tech with the muses. We're running 4 copies of Heffalumps and Woozles, because it helps us draw cards and stops our opponents from questing. A net positive. 2 copies of Mother Knows Best in order to bounce things back into the hand, and even if muses can't hit it, Mother Knows Best can. 4 copies of You're Welcome, because quite frankly, it also helps clear things off the board. It's a song that can help us bounce more stuff into our opponent's hand. A really good song to sing as well, combined with Bend to My Will, so they discard a heck of a lot more. And if push came to shove, you can also bounce back one of your things, so that then you can draw a couple more cards and it's all good to go. We're then running 4 copies of How Far I'll Go, because quite frankly we need even more ramp to make this work, so why not a little bit of this. Then we got 2 copies of the new 5 cost inkable song All Is Found. It's in Sapphire, and you put 2 cards from your discard into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So all of those things that are in your discard pile, which are just quite frankly going to see dust, can now effectively be put into your Inkwell, and as a result of that, they can trigger Grandma Tala, so you can get 2 more lore if you so wish, but it also helps with ramp after you Ink Geyser, because if you Ink Geyser after you have something like Hero out, or Clarabelle out, or someone else out in general, now all of a sudden you've ramped with some of the stuff in your discard now into your Inkwell to bolster you up for turn after you've used Ink Geyser. And on top of that, you're also able to manipulate the game a little bit, use muses. It's got such synergy, and I never thought of using it until this deck happened. There's only 2 copies because you don't want to use her all the time, but when you do, it can be a thing of beauty. And we also got 1 copy of Under the Sea, which is great. It's muses on steroids, everything with 2 attack or less to the bottom of the player's deck in any order. It's a thing of beauty, and to help us trigger things like Under the Sea and the Muses, we're running 2 copies of Sapphire Coil, so whenever we put anything into our Inkwell, it -2s an opposing character until the end of our turn. Also helps us because then we're able to relatively bop into them if we need to bop in order to make things happen. It's a net worth great coil to play. Now those are the cards, and I said this is a bad deck. Why do I say that? Because the main problem I had with this deck is it doesn't really have a go-to game plan. It's got a little bit of control here, a little bit of tempo there, a little bit of discard here, and it's all over the place. And because it doesn't have one straightforward methodology of how we want to win the game, it's a little bit of a ham sandwich jumble. It's like as if you have your bottom loaf of bread, you put in your ham, and then when it comes to adding in your top layer, you just think to yourself, oh, you know what, while I'm here, I'll just put a bit of that, bit of this, bit of that, bit of this. And that's effectively how it feels as well when you get to playing it, because you have a little bit of toolboxy things, and there's just too much going on, so it needs streamlined. And so in the second version of Get Shifty, I made version 2 a little bit more focused on the discard play rather than a little bit of everything. Because then it has a go-to game plan, has a solid plan from beginning to end, and we know our main plan is to control our opponent's hand in order to make sure that we can win as relatively simply as we can. The other caveat being is that because I don't have access in real life to a lot of expensive cards, I didn't want to make a deck that involved cards I don't have direct access to, so that, you know, I can actually play the frickin' deck. This has now since changed, and version 3 of the deck, luckily I've had help from my local lot, so if any of my local lot are watching, shout out to you guys. And because of them being willing to help me with future decks that I then try out at my local, so that then I can make content and let you guys know how these decks play out, I'm going to be able to play those cards I do not have. You won't be able to see that until a while. That's version 3 of Get Shifty. But for right now, this deck is a little bit wacky, a little bit weird, a little bit all over the place, but it is so much fun. And there were so many times I made so many people go, huh, it does that? And it does. It's funny, it's quirky, it's not quite there, but it at least shows promise. So if you're interested in the color combination, especially since the budget isn't that crazy, it's a $60 deck, it's quite entry level, it's quite budget for what you want to do in this color scheme, so why not give it a try? The most expensive card out of the deck is of course the 2 copies of Clarabelle, but if you don't have those 2 copies of Clarabelle, consider mixing up the Clarabelles for some other shift characters that you can easily put in. Hell, I'll even consider taking out the big Clarabelle and putting in 2 copies of the new Baymax, which features in future versions of this deck also. So yes, it's weird, it's wacky, it's a little bit for everybody, but you know what? You should give it a try. I highly recommend it, especially if you're new to the color scheme like I said. It's quirky, it's not all there, but you know what? If you just want to blast, try it out for yourselves and let me know in the comments. But while you're down there, posting a comment as to what you think about the deck, how you would improve it, things that you would do in that color scheme in general, why don't you look at the description so you can check me out on all my other platforms and socials so we can chat even more. And on top of that, consider subscribing, liking, sharing with your friends and letting anyone else know how quirky this deck is, because it's so quirky it may even make you look shifty at your locals. Yes, I went there. Haha, bad joke. Are you shiftier than this deck? Let me know, and I will see you guys for yet another Lorcana video. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, but most importantly, stay explosive. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. Who's that out there? Oh my god, it's the same Shifty guy, and he's... Oh my god, I think he knows me. What do I do? What do I do?